Okay, so welcome to part 4 where I do some chart analysis. This is all based on futures, but trends are trends. You know, whether you're trading CFDs, however you're trading, the trend is going to be the same. It's just perhaps a difference in price. And you know, just a reminder, so you know, we've got a lot of inflation data leading up to the FOMC meeting decision this coming week, so you know, expect some big moves, I would say. And of course, you know, it's going to be a question of whether they're going to skip or they're going to do 25 basis points for the Fed, and of course CPI could swing it one way or the other. And then of course you've got ECB, which is pretty much a done deal for a 25 basis point increase. Now, the indices analysis, just going to warn you here, I've moved on now to the September futures contract as June expires this Friday as part of the quad witching. So just a reminder of the legend. So black numbers in the right hand column, they are going to be support and resistance levels based on trend lines. Brown numbers are breakout levels. Claret numbers, these horizontal lines that I put in, are either levels where I see support or resistance, or whether they're on double, triple tops or bottoms. Just a reminder of the pivot point colors and also the fib colors, and there is at least one chart with the fibs this week. Okay, so let's look at the Dow as usual. So I've got resistance up there at 34,942. I've got support at 33,550. I've got support at 33,446, which is also going to be a breakout should it get there. I've also added the Fibonacci's onto a lot of these, so you can just see where they are in relationship to them. So on Friday, even though there was a little bit of a recovery, it did close below the golden ratio. But for me, I would want to see it go through that 33,446 level before it would convince me that it's gone from being a retracement to being a reversal. Again, you know, just remember this is all just my interpretation of the charts. They're not recommendations at all. Then looking at the 30 minutes, so on Friday, even though it sort of did have a bit of a bounce, it still finished the day lower. And you know, it sort of managed to get through R1. It couldn't hold it very long, and then it dropped all the way through S1. But you know, that's stocks at the moment. You know, again, you know, we had sort of perhaps a little bit of end of quarter rebalancing, the threat of the government shutdown, all of that impacting on Friday. So moving on to the S&P, I've got resistance at 44.90. I've got support at 42.70, and then again, as you can see, those lines. So during the week it broke through the golden ratio, but it couldn't close below there. So you know, that line is still holding in. And again, for me, you know, if I was looking at this and I was trading it, I would want to see it break that support line before it convinced me, not just the 618 level, which is the golden ratio. On the 30 minutes, I've got resistance at 43.76 and support at 43.08 and 43.05. You know, again, with the shutdown out of the way, maybe investors will take that as a positive. Lots and lots of data out there, especially employment data, plus Powell speaking. So, you know, there's going to be lots to, as usual, impact the markets. So my usual reminder, you know, you can always take screenshots, especially of the dailies, because they hold in obviously much longer than the 30-minute ones. But you know, it's just to all sort of help you to prepare for the week ahead. You know, if you're not so hot on analysis, or you're not so hot on the macro or any element of trading, even trading techniques, then reach out, because we do some great stuff. I'm happy to help as many people as possible. So looking at the Nasdaq daily, I've got resistance at 15,579 and also 15,345, with support at 12,246, which is a breakout level. I've got a bit of support just above that, round about 14,530. But again, you know, I'm not so sure what's going to happen with the stocks this week because of the unemployment data that's coming out. Looking at the 30-minute, I've got resistance at 15,095. I've got support at 14,821 and also 14,786. And of course, you know, we're starting the last quarter, so we're going to start to see those performance figures for Q3 flowing through bit by bit over the next few weeks of how companies performed in Q3. So looking at the Russell, I mean, that obviously really struggled, especially sort of the second half of this year so far, because being small cap stocks, it's much more sensitive to what's going on with the economy, what consumers are doing, so supply and demand and such like. And of course, you know, the smaller companies, if they're having to borrow money, that's become much more expensive for them recently. Okay, so I've got resistance at 1878. I've also got 1839 as resistance, and support way down at 1739. Moving on to the 30-minute chart, I've got resistance around about 1804 and support at 1793. So it's not a bad uptrend line. The resistance is sort of more of a double top than a triple. So again, it's going to be an interesting week, I think, this week. And of course, you know, the dollar had a strong week again. Ended up perhaps a little bit of sideways movement, but giving back a little bit of its ground towards the end of the week. But again, you know, that's going to be related to the potential for the US government shutdown that's now been averted. So resistance on the pound against the dollar, I've got at 125.56, also 124.24 and 123.66. And then I've got support at 121.10 and 120.35, but that is a breakout level, so should it get there again, you know, if it pops through there, it could be even more bearish. On the 30-minute, I've got resistance at 122.34, 122.23, support at 121.80, but again, that is another one of those breakout levels should it get through there. And the next support below that is 121.15. Looking at the euro against the dollar, I've got resistance at 108.15 and 106.32 with support at 105.26. The 30-minute resistance 106.31 and support at 106.01. And then if it breaks there, it's quite a way down. After that, it's at 105.26. So Bitcoin used to be the most volatile asset class. Probably not so much these days. So when we look at that, I've got resistance at 30,255 if it should have a move on the upside, and also at 27,331 with support at 23,990. But if it breaks there, then for me it's a breakout trade and it's going to drop lower. Just remember, this is just my interpretation of charts. It's not recommendations. I'm just saying what I see on the charts. If you look at the 30 minutes, sort of got into a little bit of a sort of uptrend Friday afternoon. Again, that could have been down to sort of the potential shutdown for the US government. So got resistance at 27,168. And I've got support at 26,856 and 26,550. So as usual, I've kept them in Bitcoin versus Nasdaq, and as you can see from that, that they're actually converging at the moment. They're getting closer to each other. They do sort of diverge quite a lot at times, but we've had stocks coming off and sort of Bitcoin consolidating really. Okay, so moving on to gold, and wow, what a ride that's been on recently. Sort of very bearish week. So it's a bit of a wide sort of channel I've got there. I've got 1961 as resistance and 1861 as support, pretty much where it touched on Friday. On the 30 minute, so as you can see, at that real big sell-off Friday afternoon, and then just sort of consolidated just a little bit towards the close. Resistance wise, I've got 1893. Support wise, I've got 1861. Finally, oil had that spike up, got just above 95. It just didn't quite get to the sort of resistance levels on Friday, but was so close. And so I've got resistance at 95.22 and support at 88.05. If it does have a big sell-off, I'm not saying it will, but if it did and it got through 85, then I would look at that as again another breakout trade. And then here's the 30 minute. So again, when you sort of look at that, it had that big move, got up to those 95s, it struggled at R2, just short of it, which was a little bit frustrating, but it was close. So resistance is now for me at 92.62 and support is at 90.35 with a breakout at 90.04. And again, the fibs and that sort of are on there as well. So it's just to give you a little bit of an idea of levels. When you've got sort of the market within some of them, you just treat them as a channel. Above its support, below its resistance, each line, and then just I'm not saying that's how you should trade them, but that's the way that we look at them and we interpret them, but we add a little bit more into that with our chart analysis. But that's sort of like the real principle of it. And again, if you want to improve your technical analysis skills or any elements of trading, then reach out to us. Our academy will be more than willing to help you. I take all of the courses personally, so you're gaining from my 50 years of experience in the markets. Again, just finally, a little reminder of what we do. So apart from the YouTubes, daily newsletters that go straight to your inbox each morning to provide you with global headlines, global news, and also my views. And then if you'd like to subscribe, we also provide chart levels and pivot points. When it comes to courses, we offer everything from 1-day workshops, 1-week courses. One of those includes a free trading challenge, up to the comprehensive masterclass, which is an accredited course, and the next one of that starts in a week's time on the 19th of June. So if you're interested, then contact us quickly, because those places won't be around for long. Now, also trader mentoring, where we help traders improve and get to that next level time and again. We consult to companies, FX and commodity exposure. We provide a whole platform and mass of educational content to individuals, exchanges and brokers. And